So, let's go. Number 1. The fingerprint in the carbon. 56 million years ago, the rock recorded a crime. The air filled with carbon, fast. The whole planet warmed by 5 to 8 degrees. And everywhere on Earth, in sediment laid down oceans apart, the same chemical signature dropped at the same moment, like a single fingerprint pressed into wet clay. Scientists have a name for it. The Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum. And here's the part that should make the back of your neck go cold. When two researchers sat down to ask what an ancient factory-building civilization would leave behind, this is the event they pointed to. Not as proof, as a template. This is what it would look like. Because a burned world doesn't leave you a skyline. It leaves you a smudge in the carbon. A sudden warm spike. A shift in the isotopes that says something. Dumped an ocean of buried fuel into the sky in a geological instant. You already know what that looks like. You're living inside one right now, so sit with the problem. If you dug up that 56 million year old layer today with no other clues, you would call it natural. A volcano. A belch of methane from the deep. Something the planet did to itself. You would never think to ask if somebody did it. And that's the first sign. The evidence for a lost civilization wouldn't be a ruin. It would be a stain that looks exactly like an accident. Number 2, look up, not down. Here's why you'll never find it in the ground. Earth eats its own history. Rain wears the mountains flat. Rivers haul the pieces to the sea. And the seafloor itself gets dragged down into the planet and melted, the entire crust recycled every 100 million years or so. Give it enough time and Earth erases everything, your cities, your monuments, your bones, wiped, buried, or cooked back into rock. So a scientist named Jason Wright asked the obvious follow-up. If you wanted to find something a billion years old, you wouldn't dig here. You'd look somewhere with no rain, no oceans, no shifting plates to swallow the past. You'd look at the moon. You'd look at Mars. Up there, nothing heals. A footprint stays for 100 million years. A crash machine could sit in the dust, half buried for longer than there have been animals on Earth. If anything technological ever existed in this solar system, the only durable copy of that story is off this planet, sitting in the cold and the dark, waiting. And we already photographed the moon in ludicrous detail. We map Mars rock by rock. We just aren't looking for that. We scan those worlds for water, for a place to land, for a future. Nobody's scanning them for a grave. Number 3, the chicken layer. You want to know the loudest thing our civilization is writing into the rock? It's not the pyramids, it's not the internet, it's chicken. Right now, there are around 22 billion chickens alive on Earth. Their combined weight is roughly 3 times the weight of every wild bird on the planet, all of them, every species put together. And the specific bird you eat didn't exist before the 1950s. We built it. Bred it huge, bred it fast, until its bones are a different shape, a different chemistry from any chicken that came before. So picture the future. Picture something digging through the layers long after we're gone. It hits a band in the rock, thin and sudden and everywhere, and packed with the near-identical bones of one weirdly deformed animal that appears out of nowhere and then covers the entire globe. That's us. That's the mark we leave, a world drowning in one bird, and that flips the whole question around. Because you've been imagining a lost civilization as antennas and alloys and cities of glass. But maybe the clearest sign is dumber than that. Maybe it's a sudden strange layer of one creature, bred by something, farmed by something, for reasons the rock can't explain. You've been looking for their machines. You should be looking for their livestock. Number 4, the nitrogen ghost. This one's already inside you. Right now in your muscles and your DNA, about half the nitrogen atoms in your body were not put there by any living thing. They were forged in a machine. Around 1909, we cracked how to pull nitrogen straight out of the air and force it into fertilizer. It's the reason there are 8 billion of us. And it did something no forest, no ocean, no bacteria ever did. It flooded the entire planet with a kind of nitrogen that carries an unnatural signature. You can read it in the mud. In a quiet lake in Canada, the layers of sediment show the exact moment it kicked in. A chemical shift around the year 1911 that no natural process explains. So here's the unsettling part. A civilization doesn't just leave marks on the world, it leaves marks in the chemistry of everything alive during its reign. The plants, the animals, the bodies. If something industrial lived here before us, it wouldn't just have left ruins to erode. It would have retuned the chemistry of its whole biosphere. And that shift can hide in the rock, silent, for a very long time. You keep looking for what they built. But the fingerprint isn't what they were made of. You're wearing yours right now. Number 5. The plutonium line. On July 16, 1945, in a New Mexico desert, we set off the first plutonium bomb. And in that instant, we started drawing a line, not a border, a line in the rock. Because the bombs that followed, hundreds of them, blew a fine dust of man-made atoms into the sky, and that dust settled everywhere, on every continent, in every ocean, in the ice at both poles. A thin, invisible layer of elements that did not exist in nature until we made them. Geologists love this line. They wanted to use it to mark the start of a whole new chapter of Earth's history, because it's so clean, so sudden, so perfectly global. 1 year, one signature, the entire planet tagged at once. And that plutonium will stay readable for tens of thousands of years, long after the last skyscraper has fallen, long after the last bridge has rusted into orange stains. That paper-thin line will still be sitting there, glowing faintly to anyone who knows how to look. So now run it backward. If we can stamp the whole planet with a single permanent line in one afternoon, then somewhere, in some older, deeper layer, a line like that could already exist. And we might have walked right past it, filed it under strange, filed it under natural. A civilization can end. Its glowing signature doesn't. Number 6. The molecules that won't die. We made things that nature cannot destroy. Not hard to destroy. Cannot. There's a whole family of them. People call them forever chemicals. We built them for coatings and coolants and non-stick pans, and they turned out to be nearly indestructible because nothing in the natural world evolved a way to break a molecule that never existed before we invented it. So where do they go? Down. Always down. Scientists went to the deepest scar on the planet, a trench 8 kilometers below the waves, colder and darker and more remote than almost anywhere on Earth. And they found our chemicals down there, in the mud at the very bottom of the world. Think about how insane that is. There is no corner of this planet clean enough to escape us. We reach the bottom of the ocean without going there, just by existing loudly enough. And these molecules don't rot. They settle into the sediment and they wait, layered in, a synthetic stain no natural process can erase. That's a fingerprint that outlasts almost everything. Not a building, not a bone. A smear of impossible chemistry sealed at the bottom of the sea. So ask the quiet question. If somebody came before us and they were anything like us, they might have made their own forever molecules, and the deepest mud on Earth might still be holding them. Number 7. The rare earth robbery. Here's a strange kind of clue. Not something that's there, something that isn't. When we clawed our way into the industrial age, the good stuff was just lying around. Coal near the surface, metal ores, rich and easy to reach, the rare metals in your phone, sitting in deposits we could actually dig out. We got lucky. We inherited a full pantry. But think about what an industrial civilization does. It eats the easy stuff first. It strips the surface, it burns through the rich, shallow, convenient deposits, and leaves the scraps buried deep. So if something industrial had come before us and really got going, it should have cleaned us out. We'd have shown up to a looted planet. Empty veins, picked over ground, the easy energy already spent. Instead, we found the pantry full. Now be honest, this one cuts both ways. Maybe it means nobody came before. Or maybe they never needed what we need, or maybe enough time passed for the planet to slowly restock. It's a soft clue, not a smoking gun. But it's a haunting one. Because every time you fill your tank, every time you charge your phone, you're spending an inheritance that could only be spent once. And the fact that it was still here for you to spend is trying to tell you something. Number 8. The sixth extinction in the rock. The loudest thing any civilization writes into stone isn't what it builds, it's what it kills. Right now, species are dying off somewhere between 100 and 1,000 times, faster than the slow background hum of normal extinction. That's not a gentle decline, that's a spike, a vertical wall in the record where the variety of life on Earth suddenly collapses. And here's the thing about spikes like that. When geologists find one in old rock, they don't hesitate. They give it a name. They call it a mass extinction. There have been 5 great ones, and each shows up as this same brutal signature. A world full of life, then a line, then a world with far less. We are drawing that line now, ourselves, in real time. So look back at those 5. We explain them with asteroids and volcanoes and poisoned oceans, and mostly we're right. But a sudden collapse in living things is exactly what an industrial civilization leaves behind too. Same shape, same suddenness, same brutal cut in the rock. You're not going to like the implication. In principle, one of those catalog-kitted catastrophes could hold a story we simply can't read. A collapse with a cause we've filed under nature. We can see that something died. We can't always see what pulled the trigger. Number 9. The speed of forgetting. Here's why you could miss an entire civilization. Because everything you know disappears almost immediately. Picture people gone tomorrow, not the far future. Tomorrow. Within days, the lights go out. Within a day and a half, the tunnels under a city like New York fill with water. Within 20 years, the streets are forest. Within a few centuries, your proudest buildings are the kind of broken ruins we drive out to photograph. Steel rusts to orange nothing, glass shatters and sands away. Give it 1,000,000 years, and almost every trace that you were ever here is gone, ground down, buried, erased. A handful of carved stone monuments might limp on, almost nothing else. And 1,000,000 years is nothing. It's a rounding error in the life of this planet, so here's where the whole video turns on you. You started out hunting for a lost civilization, imagining you'd know one if you saw it, but you're the one being erased. You are, right now, the fragile thing that vanishes almost without a trace. Everything you've ever seen, every city, every name, is a layer thinner than a coat of paint, already fading. We aren't the detective in this story, we're the fingerprint. And the rock is already starting to wipe us clean. Number 10. The one-shot planet. There's one clue left, and it's the one that won't let you sleep. A planet only gets to hand out its easy fuel once. The coal we burned took shape hundreds of millions of years ago in the Carboniferous, when whole forests fell into swamps and got pressed into black rock over tens of millions of years. That happened one time at that scale. You cannot make more on any timeline that matters, burn it, and it's gone for good. And when we arrived, it was all still here. Every seam, every reservoir, a full tank, untouched, waiting for the first species smart enough and hungry enough to light it. So chew on the fork in front of you. Either we are genuinely the first. The very first thing on this 4.5 billion year old planet to ever dig it up and burn it, which is a lonely, staggering thought. Or somebody came before, and they didn't touch the fuel, or the planet quietly refilled the tank across ages we can barely picture. Which is worse in a way, because it means the evidence is just gone. There's no comfortable branch on this fork. First or forgotten. Those are your choices. The only fingerprints we can be sure about are the ones we're pressing into the stone right now. The carbon, the plutonium, the chickens, the silence where the species used to be. One day something might dig those up, stand exactly where you're standing, and ask exactly what you're asking. Were they the first? And the rock will answer it the way the rock always does. It won't.